Hey everybody, welcome to another episode of What Would That Sound Like? The show where I take ideas from today's top thought leaders and show you how to communicate them to your teams, companies, and conferences. I'm Sean Patrick, and today we're breaking down the ideas from Dr. Spencer Johnson's book, Who Moved My Cheese, a book that many of us have heard of, if not read ourselves. Now, this is not a overview of the book. This is just a deep dive and a breakdown into the inevitability of change within your company and trying to find ways to be ready for that so you can get through it and not just survive, but thrive. So with that, let's find out, what would that sound like? You know, growing up, all of my friends knew what they wanted to do. Some of them wanted to be the president. Some of them wanted to be an astronaut. Some of them wanted to be a cowboy, which was odd. But for me, I also knew what I wanted to do, but I had much, much loftier goals than that. From a young age, I knew that I wanted to work at Blockbuster. And I'm not even kidding. I knew it because I loved Blockbuster. There was something awesome as a kid about going in there and seeing, oh my goodness, there's so many different movies and games and things and media, and I loved that. And I knew one day I could work there. I could probably get some free movies out of it. I wasn't too sure, but I knew I wanted to be there. I wanted to work there. Well, as fate may have it, I never got the chance to work at Blockbuster. Truth is, I did apply at Blockbuster in college and they turned me down, but who's laughing now, Blockbuster? But the truth is, I never got to work at Blockbuster because, in case you live under a rock, Blockbuster isn't around anymore. I think maybe there's one in Alaska still, the last remaining Blockbuster, but they're not around anymore. The truth is, Blockbuster was met with a major change that they weren't able to adapt to. They weren't able to change with. When Netflix came around, as well as on-demand streaming and all that kind of stuff, it left Blockbuster in the dust. They were so attached to their product, their brick and mortar stores. In fact, they put out a report that said, we believe that customers like to hold physical media and see the front and the back as they select their titles. They love the serendipity of possibly running into their neighbors at our stores, and they like buying popcorn to take home. What a crazy report that is. You know what I like to do is I like to immediately watch something sitting on my couch whenever I want to without having to run into a neighbor. That's what I like to do. But Blockbuster wasn't able to make the shift from their brick and mortar stores into what people like Netflix and Redbox were doing, which was sending DVDs through the mail or having a convenient kiosk, doing videos on demand or streaming media. They weren't able to make that shift, and therefore they were gone. The reality is that change is inevitable in our lives and certainly in our companies. It's not a matter of if it's going to happen, it's a matter of when is it going to happen and what do we do when it happens, as opposed to if it's going to happen. Change is inevitable, and in order to set yourself up for success, to set your companies up for success, to make sure you're not the next Blockbuster, I'm gonna give you 3 B's, the 3 B's of change. That's B-E'(S) of change to help set you up for success when change inevitably comes your way. The first B is this, if you're a note taker, write this down, is be prepared. Be prepared. The truth is, good situations never last forever. So be prepared. By raise of hands, how many of you guys, when you're taking photos, use a Kodak camera now? No one. Most of us use our phones, absolutely. But did you know that 10, 15 years ago, Kodak was the dominant household name in photography and film? They were the biggest. Now, like I said, most of us use our phones now, but also in professional photography, it's dominated by Canon, by Nikon, by Sony. Kodak is barely around. Well, they're still around. They're barely around, and they're nowhere near what they used to be. Well, what happened was Kodak was so in love with their product, with their camera and their film camera, that when the change in the time came where everyone was switching from film over to digital, they didn't buy in quick enough. They were in love with their film product. And now the market share is run by those 3 other companies, Sony, Canon, and Nikon. Kodak is almost a gimmicky name now. If you want a Polaroid camera to take nostalgic photos, maybe you'll get a Kodak. But they weren't able to see that change or be prepared for that change. They were so stuck in their ways and what they were doing, much like Blockbuster, that they're basically gone. See, if you expect things to stay the same, you're gonna miss the signs that change is coming. So that's the first one, is be prepared. The next one, be looking. Be looking. Keep your eyes peeled for change in your life so that you can adapt as soon as possible. Keep your eyes peeled for change so you can adapt as soon as you can. The sooner that you adapt, the sooner you can find your way again. Change is coming. We have to adapt. The sooner you adapt, the sooner you'll find your way again. A great example of seeing change and not doing anything about it or doing enough about it is another company that we lost, is Toys R Us. When Amazon came around after they were not done, but they had started with selling books and they were branching out and they're now selling toys. Toys R Us, of course, a big, giant brick and mortar type store, they let Amazon do most of their distributing and fulfillment for their toys. And they didn't believe in the internet model of selling toys. They thought that people like to go into the stores, which is true, and buy that way. But we all know what happened is just about a year ago, Toys R Us went out of business, and now there are no Toys R Us kids in the world. It's sad, but it's true, is you have to be looking out for change and trying to project what's going to happen next year, 5 years, 10 years. Try to stay on top of trends, be looking out. The truth is we've got so much information at our fingertips. And in order to be responsible business owners, responsible employees, we need to be looking at the patterns and looking at the direction that our industry or our niche in the industry is headed so that we can adapt to change and not become the next Toys R Us. So that's the second B, is be looking. The third one is be brave. You gotta be brave. You have to dare to move in a new direction so that things can get better. The truth is, as long as you're afraid of leaving your comfort zone, things won't ever get better. You have to be brave. One of my favorite types of TV to watch are renovation shows, particularly for companies, restaurants, bars. Bar Rescue is a big favorite of mine. Kitchen Nightmare, or any kitchen show really where they go in and fix it. The idea is a restaurant or a bar, something is broken, they're losing money, and someone's got to come in. John Taffer or Gordon Ramsay has to come in and fix it. They have to fix the systems, the food, the drinks, whatever it is, because it's not working. Some of these people are over $500,000 or more in debt. And I love these shows because in an hour, you get that warm, fuzzy feeling of things are all better. I wish it was that simple in real life in our businesses, that we could have change in an hour and be okay. But there are some common threads in these companies. All of them are losing money. That's why they need people to come in and help fix it. But the reasons are they weren't able to adapt to change, and they were comfortable with the way things were working, even though it's not working out. They're keeping unhealthy people on their team rather than letting them go, and it's creating a toxic culture. They're not changing their menu or figuring out what does my demographic or my client or customers, what do they want? They're not changing. And the truth is, a lot of them are scared just to change or to do something because it is a scary thing. It's a lot like if you've ever seen people in a relationship, a dating relationship, or maybe you've been in a dating relationship that's been unhealthy and you're like, why are you still with that person? They treat you so bad, and you're like, yeah, or they're like, yeah, hopefully it's not you. They're like, yeah, but it's nice to be wanted. It's nice to be in a relationship. It's the same with these businesses, and it can be the same with us, is we kind of go back to that warm security blanket of, I know it's not working, but at least I have something. If I change, I could lose everything. But the truth is, you have to change. You have to adapt, because change is coming. And the sooner you get moving with that, the sooner you can get back on track. When you move in a new direction, when you get out of your comfort zone and you embrace change, you'll conquer your fear of that change. Maybe it's not conquered forever, but you'll know that I did it the first time and it worked out, and that'll make it easier and easier the next time it comes up where you have to move outside of your comfort zone again to make that change. So the truth is, change is inevitable. And in order to not only just cope, but to thrive in a changing environment, we need to develop the kind of attitude and mindset that makes adapting to change less frightening and more rewarding. And you can do that by focusing on the 3 B's of change. Is be prepared for that change, be looking for those changes, and be brave. In order to make sure when change comes, you won't just survive, but you'll thrive. And that's what it would sound like. Change is a scary thing, but it sure is inevitable. So I hope that these 3 simple, quick, and easy B's of change can help you, your company, your teams, your conferences, whatever it is. If you want to connect with me, feel free to reach out. I'd love to be a part of your network. Hit me up on LinkedIn, Instagram, whatever it is. Let's connect. Let's chat. If you've got something coming up, if you've got your first presentation, maybe I've got a free PDF that I can send to you. If you check out the link below, it's 5 things you need to know that you must know before your first keynote presentation. I'd love to send that to you absolutely free. If you want to get in touch with me, if you've got something coming up, if you need to chat through an idea for a presentation or want me to come and chat with you, your team, your company, your conference, please feel free to hit me up on my personal email. It's seanpatrickdj@gmail.com. That's SEAN, patrickdj@gmail.com. So until next time, we'll see you right back here at What Would That Sound Like?